And welcome back to the JDL and BunnyMan show. We're still here talking about some backyard wrestling. Right now, we're going to talk about a little bit of the fun of backyard wrestling and what you used as your entrance music.
Yeah, it's the fun of picking a good entrance song.
Because you can't, and here's the rule. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. You cannot rip off a wrestling theme song.
No, it has to be your own, or even use, like, a lot of us, I know I've done it, use actual songs for it. There's something that actually personas you. The song has to fit your persona, your in-ring persona, or even yourself. What was your favorite entrance? What was your favorite music you used?
My first was Alice in Chains Wood.
Wood.
Yeah. My first was Alice in Chains Wood. And then after that, I switched to... Oh, Jesus Christ. What was it? It wasn't a wrestling thing. You know when TNA was using that adrenaline rush thing?
Yeah.
I was using that for a while, and then when I joined up with NXT, we used as a group. We used the oh God, Rage. It's a Rage song. It's a Rage song. We were just talking about it.
Or?
Yeah, we're not one of the hits, but we
oh,
were
the other one we were talking about.
Broken Man, one of our Broken Men.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we used that in NXT, and when I got out of there, I went back to Wood for a little bit.
My first one was More Human Than a Human. That was the first. It just like I went in there as a freaking serious psycho, and I was like, you know what? No, you know what? Let's go. Let's use More Human Than a Human, and it worked for a few months, and then we changed it over to Polyamorous from Breaking Benjamin. That was arguably honestly my favorite entrance music I used.
My favorite entrance that I used a tag team with Chris Youngblood, and we called ourselves Lowdown. Yes, we ripped off D'Lo Brown and Chaz. I love that tag team. And we didn't use Knocking at Your Door for D'Lo Brown, but we did use Cream. Wu-Tang. Two white boys coming out the Cream. But it fit. It worked. And for a gag, we used We Want the Funk.
We
Want the Funk. Gotta have that fun. Also one night only, but it was fun. Probably in Real Championship Wrestling, I evolved up to I started using I used different things. I used Kid Rock's not Ball with the Ball, because I learned to hate that song. Motherfucker Like Me. I used that for a while. That's got to be my favorite. That and
I remember the last one I used was Rooftops from Last Prophets.
I Hate You. I wanted to use that. Actually, I was gonna.
Turned it towards the end of my backyard wrestling career. I turned to more of the high flying, which is kind of why it ended up being towards the end of my career.
That's why I turned the end of my career. I started using technical.
I started off with technical.
You ever hear the song by Everlast? It was like,
the biggest hit?
No, not his biggest hit. No, it was one of his side hits. It was he talks about selling the soul, but no one would buy it. That one.
Oh God.
Come down, then you watch me bleed. It had that bluesy rhythm to it.
Yeah.
That was mine right before, because as I mentioned in the last episode, I didn't use my name at all except for one match. I at the tail end when I knew we were done, I came, how Hogan came back as Terry Bollea for 3 weeks in WCW?
Yeah, for a very short time.
I came back as Robert. I stopped using the Robert Riggs name, and I came back as my kayfabe real name as Robert Andrews.
What about tag? Did you use different entrance for tag?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, every tag team had a different entrance. Like I said, we used Cream and we went to Funk for we called this Lowdown. But it was cool because we got like the airbrush shirts and stuff. It said Lowdown. It had Riggs on the back and his last name on the back. So we came up with our own gimmick and we got really over. We weren't supposed to.
Oh my.
Like there's no way we should have gotten over for this, but we got over. NXT. So we as a group used one theme, but it gave me an excuse to change my theme. So I switched more to like a harder kind of song. I switched to Tool's Sober.
Nice.
Anytime I want heal, I went Tool's Sober.
I gotta say, when I was part of the tag team, the Crashers, we used When Worlds Collide from Power Man 5000, and that was. And we actually had one of the local groups actually redo it so it actually said when this is what it's like when we collide.
That's cool. I did start my own Team Canada. We talked.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah,
You're the only American in the
yeah.
team.
No, they were all Americans. I was the only real Canadian
Enthusiast
or sympathizer because I came back after NXT after some personal disputes, and I jumped in a group of what we called was the New Ministry, which was Eric Moss and Chris Youngblood, and
yes,
and Eric Moss was the Prophet. He called himself the Prophet, and Chris was this weird
like
demon kind of thing. Yeah, kind of like Midian. Except
Midian. I don't remember his actual name.
Take Midian, but take what's his name from Ring of Honor? He was in the Book of Truth stable. Bigger guy. Elgin. Yeah, take like a Midian character but with an Elgin kind of attitude.
Yeah, the actual Ring of Honor champion.
That's what that was, and I went as the Angel, the Archangel, and I didn't.
That's why they didn't allow me to use that damn name.
Because here's the thing, I didn't rip off Raven and I didn't rip off Sting. I ripped off the Joker and Gollum.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting mix.
I ripped off because I would sit there and I would cut these weird, insane promos and laugh and like terrorize people, and it was and it got over so well that when we broke the group up and I went on my own again to do the Team Canada thing, they were mad.
Would you be mad? Because I could see it actually really fitting. Would you be mad if all of a sudden Ambrose started being?
No, that'd be fine.
Because that would it just has the picture. Yeah. I could picture Ambrose.
It was funny because if this Halloween, I'm going up to where my friends just moved up in Scranton.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing a haunted house, and I'm kind of breaking the character back out for the haunted house.
Really?
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun to do. I'm gonna see if I get some footage. But for the Team Canada thing, we used "O Canada." It's not the national anthem. There was actually a rap song called "O Canada." I forget who it's by. It's rapping about things in Canada.
My Lord.
But it's better than what you think, so we used that for a while. My last tag team I had with Eric Moss, I had two tag teams. I was a tag team with Michael Zetnick, which I hated, and I wanted to murder him every single time. You go to the Tommy Dreamer Raven kind of thing where they're tag team partners and they get along. I literally wanted to punch him in the face every time I went to tag him in. I hated him.
You're not the only one.
But anyway.
When he left, he
never left. No, I lie. He did leave.
No, he did. Yeah, and he came over.
Yeah.
And we all wanted to just.
I couldn't stand him.
He was a dick. He was the definition of a dick.
He was spoiled. After the brothers left and they started rolling it, the EWA did he was meant to be the crown jewel, and I was better.
Well,
but me and him, he picked the music. What the hell did he pick? He picked I hated him for it too. It was so crappy.
What did he use that?
Nothing against Nickelback, at all.
Oh,
but he used to use Welcome to the Show, and I hated it because I actually liked that song and it fit. But that's what he used to do.
When he came over, he still used Nickelback, but he used Never Again, and I literally hit him.
Yeah.
I literally hit him because that's one of the only Nickelback songs I actually do like.
And then me and Eric, we used Bouncing Souls.
Nice. Bouncing Souls is always a good time to listen to, watch, or use actually entrance.
We used True Believers. We ripped off El Generico. We used True Believers.
Ole, 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 ole.
And it was fun to do. What about you?
Me?
I mean, because we've both been in different promotions and different tag teams. So.
Well, like I said, for the Crafters, we used When Worlds Collide, and that was a fun time. But honestly, some of the better memories I had were with a guy that I actually really can't. I must have gotten hit over the head enough times. I really don't remember his name, and I apologize. If I ever remember his name, I'll say it on the show, even if it comes out of nowhere. But we used
Now watch, I'll be in the conversation.
Yeah, like, oh, there it is. No, well, we used Linkin Park's paper cut.
We had a guy use that.
We used Linkin Park's paper cut, but we only used it for a short time because the problem was that.
Sorry, I'm watching the Orioles game as this is going on.
The biggest problem was that outside of the ring, we could get along. We had really bad chemistry inside the ring, so we really didn't last as a tag team.
That's what happened with Team K.
Like, we could not figure out who wanted to do what at what time, and it looked awful, and it made us both look bad, so we just ended it.
Well, if you think about it, if you talk to a lot of guys that did backyard wrestling, a lot of us had the same theme musics. Yeah. Let's face it, only certain ones really, really work. I remember the one time, the guy who did our theme music, his name is Scott, and I love him. Because I have music ADD. I cannot come out to the same theme music like more than 2 months in a row, and then I just get bored, and I'm like, I need something new. And it got to the point where he would just sit there, and he'd come up with a CD of things that he think I would like, and then he would just play a new song every couple of months.
Yeah, we had one in the last promotion I did. Like I said, we were talking earlier. Yeah. It wasn't too much of a promotion. It was more of a talk show that a bunch of us got together and actually started wrestling. But the last one, we had this kid, CJ. Literally, he was a kid. He was like maybe 15.
Please tell me he came out like Cop Killer.
He was like a waiver, but he came out to Lit Up. He came out to Lit Up from Buck Cherry.
Oh my God!
Every single week for freaking almost 3 years.
Wow. Now here's the thing, and like I said, you had different themes. I just said I couldn't go with the same theme for too long.
Yeah, it gets anal.
It gets to the point where you need something new, and I will admit, as we did come up with the cardinal rule of not ripping off wrestling theme songs, I did. Before the match, I would listen to Sting's theme from '86. That that one, not the Man Cold Sting, but that one.
Well, speaking of which, the only one time I used something actually directly from wrestler was when I retired as champion. Yeah. I came out to Metalingus. I just had to. I was literally from head to toe. You see the long hair. Yeah. It was a lot longer back then and a little more blonder. I literally came out edged out. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna retain this title. I want to retire from this thing because I'm beaten. I'm broken down. And that's the thing with backyard wrestling. It beats your body down, and you get to the point where you literally don't want to do this anymore.
I wrote for about a month and a half. I quit. I literally quit. I walked out in the middle of... No, I lied. I didn't walk out in the middle of the match. I told you the story before. I'm wrestling this kid, right? And we're going back and forth, and I'm supposed to go over. And he hits me in a small package, and he let go, and I held on to the small package, so he beat me for the 3.
Oh, and it
And
pissed off the promoter.
yeah, and I went to the back, and everybody was stunned at the fact that I just hard pinned myself because I was done. And that was stipulation. If I lost the match, I was done. So I hard pinned myself, and I get back to the curtain, and it's just red, and he starts going. He didn't know what to say.
Yeah, the ref was out of it too. He's like, "Wait a second, I'm not supposed to be pinning for you."
He goes 1, 2, and he goes, "Damn it!" And he's looking at me. I'm like, "Count it." He goes 3, and my guy gets up, and I get back, and I quit. And I spent like 3 weeks away. And here's the thing. Like, we'll say I spent like 2 weeks away or 3 weeks away, but when you pretty much do it like every day, a lot can happen in 3 weeks. Like, you can be written off into history in about a week. Like, you're never there because it's so bam, bam,
like
bam, bam.
Chris Jericho's actual first reign as champion.
Yeah, but so I started. I got a phone call from one of the other brothers and went, I know you don't want to do the thing where you beat up your bag, but do you want to write? Yeah, sure. Yeah, fine, I'll write.
I take that job. Yeah, I take it right now.
Yeah, I started writing. I had like 3, 4, 5 notebooks filled with like ideas and stuff. And I started writing with a good group of guys, and everything started clicking. We started selling more tickets. And it was one of those things where it was a lot easier to.
It was improving.
Everything was improving. Yeah, and then I got the itch again. Because you're writing, you're like, I can work well with this guy again. I can work well with that guy.
Eventually you get the itch. I still have it now, but I would gladly go out there, but I'd rather not do hardcore as I used to.
I had the itch. Oh God, 5 years ago, and I'm not going to mention names. I'm not. I'm just going to mention a scenario. It was a ladder match. I leapfrogged over my buddy, grabbed the ladder. While before this had happened, the specific buddy set up 2 chairs and drywall.
Oh, you were telling me about
I run. And in the beginning of this match, first of all, in the beginning of this match, this son of a bitch hits me with an elevator and doesn't tell me. So I'm straight up expecting a suplex. Like, my legs are falling back. I'm waiting, and all of a sudden I start falling in the opposite direction. And he hits me with the elevator, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, as I'm falling, I'm like, son of a bitch, because he told me he was gonna do it to me, but he never told me when. So I don't know how to solve this. So I just drop and act like I'm dead. So he's setting up this, and I'm like, all right. So I leapfrogging, I grab onto the ladder. So I'm hanging on the ladder like a cat, right? And I look up and I see the belt, and I get my fingertips on the belt. And as I get my fingertips on the belt, he crotches me. And as he does this, I still have a tight grip on the thing. And as I start letting go, the only part that went through my head was, don't hit the chair. For the love of God, don't hit the chair. Because I'm getting powerbombed through drywall. So as I'm falling and I'm looking at the ladder fading away in the distance, and I'm kind of starting to go limp because I know this is going to hurt. There's no part of this is going to feel good.
No.
And I go through, and the crack sounds great. The impact sounds good. The guys we were wrestling with didn't know this was going to happen, so they freak out. And here's the thing. I wasn't doing this in front of a crowd. This was literally, we're all sitting there talking, going, we have the itch to do this one last time, like an old reunion show, under a new promotion name, under the LCW banner. And,
was this
this is post everything. And as I went through, I heard the crack. He didn't hit the chair. I went straight to the drywall. That didn't hurt that bad. Like my back.
The one and only time I ever got powerbomb was on drywall. And let me tell you, it hurt. I refused to get powerbomb after that.
Like my back was tight, like when you get hit like square in the back. But I sold it good. I mean, it stung, but it didn't hurt. But we all got like, even now we sit there and talk about it. Like I was down at this guy's house like maybe like 3 weeks ago.
What was under the drywall? Was it ground mat?
It was a mattress that had been beat the hell out of it for like the past 16 years.
At least it was a mattress.
No,
I was literally ground under the drywall.
This mattress was like concrete. Okay, this was one of those hard mattresses that, like the futon mattresses that hurt.
I'm literally saying that I literally got onto the
I'm just saying, you remember that match we had at work about like a month ago, a couple months ago, that we had in the front there?
Yeah.
Remember how hard that mattress was?
It was halfway.
It was like that.
It was about something maybe like
but
that.
It was one of those where it was such a good time, and it was one of those things where I finally do I have the itch to go out and do it now?
Would you?
Would I? Without Steph?
If someone no, if someone came up to us like, you want to come out of retirement, we're doing a reunion.
Depends on the company. Depends on where.
What was it, RCW? What was it, the reality one?
The Real Championship Wrestling?
Yeah.
The only reason I would go back to that one was because we were this close to putting the EWA out of business. We put them out of business. A lot of people don't realize we put them out of business. I don't know if you heard that. They were done. They were done. Their shows were the barn that we wrestled in for the EWA. The other brother went and started his own wrestling company. Okay, this is when you could just literally do this. This isn't now we have to find friends everywhere like, within a 5-mile radius and hope to God they all like wrestling. This is when you can flip a coin and hit like 5 people.
Yeah, well, let's end that discussion and go right into that since we're talking about it.
Oh, just let me finish this. So he comes to me and goes, this was his pitch. I'm sitting there in my gear, which was shorts, wrestling shoes, and a knee pad. Okay? Indie gear. And I think because I was trying to save up for wrestling boots that I was never going to wear in my life, so I bought wrestling shoes because I used to be an amateur wrestler. Before, I was an amateur wrestler for 6 years. So I'm sitting there, and his pitch to me, he looks me dead in the eye and goes, do you want to put them out of business? Where do I sign? And the only reason, I told you the story, the only reason that we didn't fully put them out of business was because his mom got involved. And his mom said to knock it off. And they never told me. So when I show up for an RCW show with the RCW Heavyweight Championship, it's the EWA. And they've handed all their belts in, except me.
And then you cut that freaking huge, untelevised freaking...
I flipped. I was so mad. Nobody told me.
It's a little too long to talk about right now, but we'll sum it up. Let's just say that it
was a pipe bomb before pipe bomb.
Potential to literally put everything over. It was
great. It was a pipe bomb before a pipe bomb, and it was all anger. But what we were talking about, we were talking about a lot of promotions that we were in and how you could start up a promotion because, and we mentioned earlier in the other show, we did a lot of this during the Attitude Era when
backyard wrestling was actually popular.
Yeah. And
it had a lot of them.
And it had its own video game. It had its own DVDs.
That game sucked.
It did. City and Same Clown Posse was not. They have nothing to do with wrestling.
No, they're horrible.
But nowadays, like for kids that are obviously young, I mean, I'm only 25. I'm
30.
I'm not even prime in wrestling, like pro wrestling standards. I still got another 30 years. Yeah, 20, 30 years.
Well, if you got into the damn business, you'd have the time.
Yeah, but that's when you could got a couple of guys and you could just do it, and then you had the safe guys that were doing it, and then you had the crazy guys that were doing it, and then the parents saw what their kids were doing and stopped it, and then the parents that, even though the kids that were doing the right thing, they stopped it too because they saw what the crazy kids were doing and they didn't want to do that. And you
for
saw
the longest time, a lot of the parents were suing each other because of this damn freaking shit.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when the bubble popped on the Attitude Era and the wrestling bomb, the bubble popped for the backyard wrestling.
Around the same time. Because once everybody started getting out of it, everybody started getting hurt, everybody that wasn't doing the right thing, you saw it just go up, and then it just took a hit, up, and then it just dropped to where I watch kids now that do it on YouTube just to see what they're doing. And it's... You know what's actually funny? I think it round up when WCW actually officially went out of business. It's literally when it went bye-bye.
When they stopped. I watch a lot of kids now that do it on YouTube, like I was saying.
Yeah, but there's nowhere near as many as it used to be.
And it's not as organized as they used to be, and it's more
It's more the mistreatment of what backyard wrestling gets the bad rap for.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and the kids that do it safe, too, do the same thing. When we did it, we organized. We were very organized, because we were like, this isn't going to be our break into the business, but it's something that we enjoy, we're going to have fun at. And now it's kids that are just going look, we need a hobby.
Well, let's
Hey, let's wrestle in the front. Let's wrestle in the front yard.
You see that crutch? Yeah, well, might as well use it. Well, here we go.
Yeah, or it's the kids like, you know what? I give credit to like the 7th and 8-year-olds that their parents let them wrestle around. They are the cleanest kids I've ever seen. It's all offense. It's a Teddy Hart match, but they are the cleanest. I saw a kid sell. As I lie, I saw a kid. I was watching on YouTube the other day. I saw a kid sell RKO on YouTube the other day. He could have been no older than 10. Better than I've seen anybody sell on Raw in the past month. He took the move. He flopped on his back like he had just gotten shot, and the guy pinned him clean. I was impressed. I kind of wanted to call them and go, look, I'm gonna start promotion on YouTube because it's just funny because like for the kids who do it now, I saw a kid do a head scissors.
Really? How old?
7.
A 7-year-old doing a head scissors.
No, beautiful. Like Sin Cara type head scissors, like Mystico type head scissors. He got him, went completely around and dropped them. I was in shock. I was like, okay, they've gotten a lot better, except they just don't have the amount of kids that we had growing up. Because if they had the amount of kids that we had growing up, you would see a lot more promotions.
Especially actually on the East Coast. The East Coast actually had a lot more. Yeah, I know we live on it, so we would assume that we were more. But if you look back in time where there was a lot of backyard wrestling was popular, most of it was on the East Coast.
Yeah, you did a lot of. I mean, you had your Midwest stuff. Texas had some stuff. And, actually, I heard a couple in Texas were really, really good.
Oh my God!
You know, it was really good.
Too specific.
And honestly, you know, it was really good. The Carolinas had a couple. And
I had a chance actually.
My buddy started one down in Carolina. He started one in South Carolina. It was really. He called me and he asked me if I wanted to come down. I said no, but if you ever come up, I'll wrestle for you. And
he official too. They actually have the full-on ring.
Yeah,
have everything.
And he came up once and twice, and I wrestled for him for a little bit. And he, you know, good. Pay was good. And you have to work. I got to work with a bunch of new people. But here's the thing. Like even with like all this we talk about, I mean, yes, backyard wrestling does have its bad parts with people getting hurt and kids getting hurt. That's the thing. It's kids. And I think that's where people. But I have a lot of my stories are so much fun of crap that we did and ribs that we did. Like
that's the one aspect that a lot of people don't understand. They always think about, oh, it hurts and you're hurting yourself. It's injury and like blah blah blah. You know what? Well, a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of fun, and you get, like you said, there's stories. There's moments that you've done that you just had a lot of fun doing. You had fun matches. You had fun events.
Eric Moss, he loved sliding, like running into the ring and sliding like Jeff Hardy did. Remember?
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy hop in the ring and slide across the ring. We greased the ring of that.
Oh, it had a freaking
and he went right through it. I'm sitting there, right, because it was a triple threat match, and the lights went down because he was never really one for theatrics, but when he finally started doing it, he wanted to have like the lights and stuff. So as the lights went down, we're sitting there with like soap just going like the soap that you use for grinding on like skateboards and stuff, the wax. Yeah. We're sitting there waxing the ring, and the lights are down, looking up, wax all right, looking up, wax all right, looking up.
Oh my Lord!
And we're sitting there, and to pay respects, we get out of the ring. And the one guy's on one side, I'm on the other, and we're sitting there going like this, and still trying to act all tough and walk around. He's doing that on one side. I'm just on the apron like, and you see him running, and he's gunning it, and it's like he's a 40-yard dash, and he hops in the ring, clears the bottom rope, which I give him all credit for. I never know how he did it. Cleared the bottom rope, his ass hit the mat, and just kept going. He slid right out of the ring, right through the announce table, and like stopped 2 yards down. It was so. All you is, fuck, and I just dropped. I completely broke kayfabe. I fell over. I started laughing. We couldn't have the match. We didn't think it through because we didn't know we was gonna jump, so we waxed the entire ring just to be safe. So we had a hose trying to get stuff.
Oh, I remember the one time we were I think this is after me and my buddy in the Crashers we broke up and we went our separate ways, and we're like, okay, let's we did it where we had a match against each other. Well, we knew each other very well. And it was a great match, but the fun part was after the match. No, all of a sudden his sister's little rat of a dog ran out of nowhere and ran into the ring and started freaking running back and forth.
That's hilarious.
And we were both trying to chase him down, trying to get the damn dog out of the damn ring. And the damn dog just kept running around circles, and we all looked like a bunch of idiots running around damn circles trying to get the damn little rat dog. Well, his little sister came out with a tricycle. Yeah, and we had the whole commentary team literally go.
I remember one time, I was in mid-move. I went to hop up to the top turnbuckle, like RVD style. So I get to the top. I grab the top turnbuckle, and I go to hop. And apparently, when I went to hop, the entire turnbuckle just fell off. So I like leapfrogged the pole and landed on my feet, and it went like this. I didn't know what to do. It was one of those things where you're like,
You just had to pull up on Dallas. I'm like,
oh my god! I remember we were talking about the Ultimate X match.
Yeah.
You know how many times we actually tried to get those cables to work? We get like snap, because we do pre-run. We weren't dumb. We did a pre-run. We were like really trying to rip them down.
So you're trying to tell me you wanted to do a pre-run where you're doing this insane ridiculousness twice?
No, we didn't do the full match. We just made sure we could hang on to the cables.
Oh, okay.
Because we didn't want the cables to come off. So we were like yanking on the cables and trying to make sure they didn't fall off, and we were sitting there like bouncing on the things. What was it one time? One time we were sitting there, and I super glued my tag team partner's hand to the post. He was pissing me off all night. So I'm sitting there like I'm like I had it in my hand like this, right? Like that. Like, so the glue's right here, and I'm like. I'm holding on to the tag rope so you really can't see me. Because I knew he was going to put his hand there. He always does. He tags me. I'm like, yeah, I get in there. And he goes like this, the rest. The next thing he was like, all you hear, and and I rolled him up in the school board. All you hear is, you asshole! And we finally get his hand off. And he goes, why'd you do that? I was like, forward. You didn't piss me off all day. This would have been something completely different.
Oh, always win.
Like, hey, always win. Hell yeah. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I have a lot of good memories from back here. I mean, I have a lot of bad memories. You know, fighting with people and arguing with people. I mean, I honestly think that I wish we would have gotten a chance to work in the same company. Yeah, I mean, it would have been fun.
I think it'd been awesome.
You know,
just knowing knowledge, like we didn't know back then at all who the heck each other really were.
Yeah, you knew.
Somehow we end up freaking.
Yeah, you knew.
We end up working with each other and talking about our past, and like, really, you were, really?
You knew names, like you knew names of different people, but you didn't know who they were because you didn't travel.
Yeah, and the idea of wrestling, you don't really use a real name,
yeah.
So you're going under the ring name. No one knows really who's who.
And you didn't like, if I was wrestling in EWA and you were wrestling in Allentown, I didn't leave the EWA to go to Allentown. Or you didn't leave Allentown. It was one of those where it was like...
When I left, I never went to go to EWA because, well...
Yeah, it's when you...
I had...
When you left the company, you were either done or you were just like... You're done. Like, there's no difference between being done and taking a sabbatical and maybe hooking up with...
Done.
Yeah, and then hooking up with another company later and just being done. You know, and when I left EWA, I thought I was done. Yeah, when they started going on, I got to, because when you start getting into your late teens, you're like ancient at that time for backyard wrestling. Like your later teens, you're like nobody wants to see you. You've done everything you could do. You're done. And so when I finally stopped, I was beaten, broken, done. I used every gimmick I could. I'd come up with anything I could. I was physically done. So I mean, I might.
Worn out.
Hey, have I ever been sad that I left? No. going back to what you say, like if the right, like if it was like an imaginary type scenario, like the EWA got back together and it was a sold out Wilson area high school football field and my entire hometown's there and I'm in the main event and everybody knows it's me and like my music hits. The fireworks go off and the crowd goes crazy and I walk down the football stadium steps like the Shield and like I'm being carried. Hell yeah, I'm
we go out full out. If I'm gonna
sign it up for that.
Let's go full out.
No, my honestly, because here's the thing. Right before I was about to leave the EWA, we were really talking about. I wanted to get all the PA, Eastern PA, around the Lehigh Valley and Monroe County promotions together. I wanted to create the Keystone Wrestling Grand Prix or Keystone Wrestling Alliance.
Well, shortly after I hung up.
Yeah,
I hung up there.
I wanted to, in my mind, I had to get, like, the belt looked really cool. Like, you had to be a champion in your promotion to even think about getting a shot at the big belt. And once I realized that was never going to happen, I was done. I left. I left on good terms. It's not like I left on bad terms.
You know what? Is there really a way to leave on bad terms and those kind of companies?
Oh yeah, there's a way. You can walk out in the middle of a match.
Well, aside from the obvious.
I've done that.
Walk down the middle of the match.
In the middle of a match. I was so pissed off with Russia. I just left.
I'm done.
I mean, it depends. I mean, because you can get to a point where in the beginning of it you're friends, and at the end of it you hate each other.
You don't want to get to that point.
And we got to that point. Yeah, I don't talk to anybody.
Yeah,
I don't.
I actually.
We all moved to different parts of the country, and I don't care.
I actually only talked to. I talked to most of the people that from the last thing, but like I said, I don't really count that as a wrestling promotion because it was more of a talk show.
Yeah, the only people I talked to from the LCW is because we did 2 shows, and one of them is my best friend. That's it. That's all you. Besides that, I talked to you, but that's because we never worked together.
Yeah. We didn't even play football together, and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, so it's one of those things.
Football team were a bunch of dicks.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you didn't work together, and if you didn't work in a promotion that died, you don't talk to them. Because
no.
Especially with that, because we worked together so much, so long, so with the same kind of thing. It's just you have heat on people that you don't have the heat for. It's because you don't want to talk to them. Because you said everything in the world you can say to them at that point in your life. And you're like,
I have nothing more to say.
And you're 17, you're like, I never want to see you again.
Yeah, you don't want to be at that point.
And it's fine. It's whatever. I want to talk to them. They don't want to talk to me.
Before we get too much rambling on here, let's get back to the point at hand.
Yeah, we shared some stories. We showed some good stuff, bad stuff. But there are success stories in backyard wrestling. People that have made it to the big time. You have your Jeff Hardys, your Matt Hardys, your Shannon Moores, your Gregory Helms. They were all in their own backyard wrestling federation together.
And the more notable, CM Punk.
CM Punk. If you watch the Best in the World DVD, CM Punk did start out as strictly, as we are talking, like wrestling in people's backyards at birthday parties and stuff like that. And, he made it to be the WWE champion. So
longest reigning WWE champion in the last decade.
So it's one of those things where if you treat backyard wrestling as a thing to hone your skills and kind of get used to being in a place that travels and does a lot of work in the ring to where you can save up your money like Punk did and get professionally trained, or like him where you're just professionally trained at first and you're going back to get
lucky enough to win a contest.
Yeah. And you do that for a while and maybe you want to progress and get more training and stuff like that. You can do that. For a guy like me, I like backyard wrestling because I got to hang out with friends and talk wrestling and do something that I enjoyed. And
yeah, it was kind of like your own little hobby, but
it was a fight club without a fight club.
I've actually still never seen that movie. Serious, I've never seen it.
But for all those who did backyard wrestle and enjoy the times and have moments and have their bodies are beaten up, from 2 former backyard wrestlers, thank you for everything that you guys did. Everything that you put your bodies through. If you were smart,
it's got its bad things. Like It has. It wore down on CM Punk. If you notice, honestly, he probably
he wanted to retire like 5 years ago.
Yeah, the beatings he got, and it beats on your body, but it has its fun aspects, and a lot of people don't understand. The people that complain about backyard wrestling all the time always have the same points. It hurts. It's painful. It's gonna kill you.
It's unsafe. Well, there's things you can do. Wrestling in a WWE ring. Wrestling in a WWE ring is unsafe. Playing touch football with your buddies is unsafe. As long as you can do your best to control it and make it as safe as possible, then you're fine.
Yeah. It's you go out there, you have fun, and you do your thing. And if you do it the right way, it's not honestly that bad. You can have a lot of fun and have some good memories.
And sell some tickets and actually make something out of it, like he did, like I did. So for all the backyard wrestling veterans, we thank you. We appreciate everything you did. For all the young kids that are doing it, be safe. Get your parents involved in it. Make sure they know what you're doing, so if something were to happen, you can be medically taken care of. Don't do anything stupid like break light bulbs over your heads or anything like that, because you don't need to do that.
You don't break light bulbs over your head. If you're going to do it, break it over the back.
Don't listen. Don't do it at all.
Don't do it at all. No, don't do it at all. I agree. But if it happens, don't do it over your head. That's just stupid.
But we appreciate everybody. Lately, the activity on the page has been great.
We've been starting to get more activity on the YouTube page.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for all those like viewing on YouTube, we appreciate it. The one thing we do on the Facebook page for a lot of you guys, mostly Jesse's friends, hey, I want to hear from you. I don't know your opinions.
Yeah, I would like to actually hear some. You guys know about it.
I want to hear your opinions.
Just completely forget about it sometimes.
So, if you, like I said in a couple of posts, if you guys want to make videos, or a friend of ours, Paul, he's made a video, make some videos. Dude, if that page is nothing but video chat back and forth about wrestling, get more opinions out there, that's great. We have our own different things.
If you have ideas, you don't want to do them yourself, you have ideas, let us know. Yeah, we'll gladly talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We're not going to be together all the time, so he might talk about it, or I might talk about it. I have my bunny show thing on the side.
I've tried actually a couple of times of filming one for myself, and I swear, living where I live, I swear the internet just never wants to work.
But thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the comments. We really appreciate it. We enjoy doing this. It's very therapeutic for us. The next episode that we are going to do, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a scoop. The next episode is going to be strictly about the main event at SummerSlam and the pros and cons of having Brock Lesnar in the main event and having Brock Lesnar in the wrestling business.
And the reason why this is going to be the next one, because it's the one I actually tried to shoot myself. I have a 20-minute video. If I could ever get it uploaded, it will be up. And anybody that knows me knows how much I hate Brock Lesnar.
So I enjoy it.
Yes, this might actually be our first episode we actually argue.
Yeah, we will argue on this one. But thank you guys, appreciate it. For Paul, who is watching this, I want you to know that your Yankees are 5 games back from my Orioles.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. JDL and BunnyMan show coming at you again. Enjoy the shows. Take care.
Peace.